Hello there, this is Welsh ASMR 82. Hey, how you doing? So this may seem a little bit early, but I'm already starting to think about the 2026 World Cup. So why not share my little research with you well ahead of the tournament. It's one which I am particularly excited about. So let's give you some quick facts right up off the bat. When is the next World Cup? It's in 2026. It's going to be in the summer, around June time, I believe, of 2026. Where is the World Cup? The World Cup is going to be in North America. So we'll have joint hosts of Canada and Mexico, as well as the United States of America. Fast forward to where the matches are taking place. The majority of them are in the US, with some in Canada and some in Mexico. We'll take a little look at the host cities shortly. Who is in the tournament? Well, those three teams already are qualified: Canada, United States and Mexico. Some teams are already out of contention, by the looks of it, according to this map. My quick knowledge of maps, Mongolia are out, as well as Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, I want to say Nepal maybe, or Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, I think that's Laos, Taiwan, and is that Singapore on the end there? Oh no, it's East Timor, and Brunei, and is that Hong Kong as well? Is that? Hong Kong surely can't be out already. I think a couple of Caribbean islands may be out as well. So, how is qualification going? So it hasn't started for a couple of regions yet. Europe being one, but this video is going to focus on what the European tournament is going to look like. I'll talk about when it's starting and the weird situation with the groups. But let's talk a little bit about the finals for a second. It's going to be the first of a new type. Basically, we're going to have a lot more countries involved. And it says qualification began on the 7th of September. And some South American teams were taking matches on that date. Let's talk a little bit about the slot allocation, shall we? So for those of you who are a little bit unfamiliar with how the World Cup works, there are a certain number of slots divided up into the different regions in the world. Europe has the most, then South America, then I think Africa, Central North America, Asia, and the least go to Oceania. This year, I mean, the same is going to take place, but there are going to be a lot more for each region than previous. Let's just skip this bit here. Okay, so it goes into the individual areas. I want to see. So basically, I tell you what, I opened it up earlier on. 2026 World Cup. Let's read the article, open a new tab. So the World Cup itself is going to take place with a lot more groups than it was before, which means that more nations get to qualify than ever before, which I suspect means that because it's gone to 48 teams rather than just 32, we're going to see some big returns of countries that haven't been for a really long time. And I predict we're going to see a couple of brand new countries for the first time ever in this World Cup. My early suggestions are going to be that we're going to see Venezuela. I predict we'll see the first ever appearance of Venezuela, the last of the South American CONMEBOL nations to qualify. Each of them has previously been to a World Cup, including Bolivia once. I also think that we'll see a couple of new African countries, and I think maybe one or two from Central America, as well as maybe So I was thinking of Africa, I was thinking maybe Burkina Faso or Cabo Verde. And from Asia, I think we might see the return of someone like Iraq, who hasn't been in it for some time. And maybe the debut for someone like Uzbekistan, who has... that country has so many near misses, it's incredible. They've never been to a World Cup. Yeah, so I think that the format expansion is going to help some of those countries return or appear for the first time. The other thing I wanted to mention is they finally talked about the format. There was a point where they were going to have just 3 teams in a group, but then someone else pointed out to them that match fixing would be incredibly easy at that point. Not necessarily sort of professional conspiracy theory here, but actually just in the sense that if 2 teams need a draw to get through, and the other team isn't playing at that time, because obviously there's 3 teams in a group, we can't all play, then they could just kind of go, alright, in 3 days' time we'll just get a draw then. It's a bit conspiracy theorist, but it isn't good that some nations finish and have to wait 3 days to know whether they're going to still be in it or not. So in the current system they've changed it back to groups of 4 teams, so that's much better. However, there used to be 8 groups of 4 teams, and now they're going to be 12 groups of 4 teams, with the top 2 of each group and the 8 best 3rd place teams progressing to a new round of 32. So we're used to the format of the best 3rd place teams going through, because we've had that in Europe for about 3 editions now of our UEFA Championship, and also it's something that, you know, is quite familiar, becoming more familiar. And then this new round of 32 is fine. There are going to be more games than there previously have been, obviously, with more teams. In fact, it does say the total number of games played will increase from 64 to 104. And the number of games played by teams reaching the final 4 will increase from 7 to 8 matches, which obviously is not good for player fatigue. So that'll be quite interesting. Okay, so yeah, there are critics, blah blah blah. Okay, so we have it in... It's talking about all the different venues. Here we go. Oops, I just opened Atlanta. It's gonna... I thought it would open up the map. Okay. So that's the host. They are in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle and Vancouver. And that's the West region, so they're going to try and keep teams playing in those areas so that they don't have to go across the country. This is 1 in Canada, 2 in the States and 1 in... oh no, 3 in the States. And then you've got Central, so it's Dallas, Guadalajara, Houston, Kansas, Mexico City and Monterrey. So the Guadalajara, Mexico City, Monterrey, the 3 Mexican ones are in the Central, and then the East, and then none for Canada. And then the East region, you've got Atlanta, Boston, Miami, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia and Toronto. So yeah, we've got, what is it, Vancouver, Boston, Miami, Philadelphia, Toronto. Oh, was it just 2? 4. Oh, interesting. Unless I've missed one out. I think it's just 2 for Canada, so it was 3. Okay, so Canada has only 2 cities, and Mexico's 3, and the rest are from the USA. Okay, so a couple of the the qualifying rounds have started, and for example, we can see, I'll click to South America. Actually, I'll click back for a second because I need to show you this. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 regions of FIFA. And this time around, this is going to be their allocation. So Asia will have 8 with 1 playoff slot. So teams started, teams eliminated, 15 have gone already. 31 left and none qualified as of yet. Okay, that's fine. So direct slots are 8 currently with 1 playoff slot. So I'll be referring to that playoff slot as 0.5 because it's a 50-50 chance that they'll get through, so we'll call it 8.5. That's moved up from 4.5, so there's a 4 brand, well not brand new, but 4 more countries can get in from Asia. The African Confederation's got 9.5, and that goes up from 5, just a solid 5. There was not a playoff place for them before. So that could be, you know, double, essentially, because it could have 10. CONCACAF, this is an unusual year for CONCACAF because 3 of theirs have already qualified, and usually they only get, I think it's 4.5. So they could have up to 6, but they've got 2 qualification in the playoffs as well. So that means that if everyone got through, then they could have 8, gone up from 4.5. Probably the least amount of change has gone to CONMEBOL, which is South America. It's only really gone up. I think it used to be 5.5, so now it's 6.5. But there are only, like, what, 9 countries in that particular region anyway, so there's a massive percentage chance of you getting through. The biggest change of all, I think, however slight it looks, is that Oceania have 1 guaranteed spot and 1 playoff, so it's 1.5 gone up from 0.5, which means that surely New Zealand have got a guaranteed spot in the finals, and then there's a potential for someone else to try and get into a playoff and get extra experience, which is very good for the region. UEFA's got 16 spots, up from, I believe, 13. And then playoffs too, I'm not sure what that means. Maybe someone can remind me. I seem to have forgotten what that is. What is the playoffs? But there's only 2. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2. No, it's way more than 2. Anyway. So there we are, just showing you at CONMEBOL. We can see Argentina is top, Uruguay second, Colombia, Venezuela. As I said, they've never qualified for a World Cup before. Ecuador, Brazil is down in 6th after 3 losses. And Paraguay in 7th. So it's 10 teams, I said 9 earlier on, sorry. And outside of the qualification spot, so Paraguay are currently in the playoff spot. After just 6 games, they've got, 18 to play in total. And then Chile, Bolivia and Peru are outside of their chances at the minute, but they've all previously been in World Cups. So yes, I kind of strongly feel that Venezuela can make it to their first ever. Okay, for the rest of this, we're going to look exclusively at the UEFA one, which hasn't been drawn yet, because I'm going to explain what's going to happen. Okay, so UEFA. This is Europe. And we will find out the draw after the Nations League is finished. So it'll be in about December of 2024. It's going to be a little bit different to previous ones, but it will have some similarities. For example, we'll have to wait until after the Nations League because we need to know who's won in the Group A spots and gone to the playoffs. Those nations will be in the groups of 5 teams, but everyone else will be in groups of 4, and theirs will kick off a little bit earlier while the playoff matches for the Nations League are happening. So it's going to be a little bit strange compared to normal. We've got a maximum of 55, but obviously at the minute, due to the invasion of Ukraine, Russia's place in the competition is still currently down as suspended. Okay, and then in a modification from the previous cycle, we're going to have the winner of each group qualify for the World Cup, while the second place teams will advance to the playoffs, along with the 4 best-ranked group winners from the Nations League, which finish outside of the top 2 of their qualifying group. So, the first round is the group stage. This is where the difference lies. 12 groups of 4 or 5 teams will play home and away matches against the other teams of the group. Group winners will qualify automatically for the World Cup. Second round is the playoff stage. 16 teams, which are the 12 group runners-up and the 4 best Nations League group winners based on the Nations League overall ranking that finished outside the top 2 of their qualifying group, will be drawn into 4 paths, playing 2 rounds of single match playoffs, semi-finals and the seeded teams to host, followed by finals with the home teams to be drawn. The 4 path winners will qualify for the World Cup. So, why is that different, you ask? Because it means we've got 12 groups and they've only got 4 teams in them. So I was looking at the current seeds, and I'll show you what this means. It's a little bit curious, and it's going to be a bit strange because normally we have 7, sometimes more, teams in a group in Europe, so 6, 7 teams. So go down to 4 means, 6 matches and your qualification is done, potentially. So let's take a look at who would be the seeds if the seeds were drawn right now, bearing in mind there's plenty of time. We've got the Euros to play, we've got the Nations League to play, and then the seeds are going to be drawn from that time in December. So lots could change, but let's look at who the current seed ones would be. And very curiously, seed 2, which is going to be very strange. Okay, I apologise about the change to white. I can't change the background of this, the official FIFA site, but I have lowered the screen to make it as sort of dull as possible. Okay, so we have the world rankings here. So Argentina is in number 1, France, Belgium, England, Brazil is number 5, etc. So what does this mean then? So if we take out all of the non-European sides and we count 12 of them, these would be, if they were drawn right now, the seeds for the group number 1 seeds. France, Belgium, England, Portugal, Netherlands, that's top 5, Spain, Italy, Croatia, Germany, Switzerland, Denmark would be 11, and Ukraine would be number 12. So what I'm saying there is that Denmark and Ukraine, as well as all those other teams, would be the number 1 seeds, Switzerland, etc. Which is odd. Well, it's not odd as such, but some of those would not normally be considered to be number 1 seeds. And then the number 2 seeds, I think, are fairly straightforward. It's the number 3 seeds that are very odd. Okay, so here we go. These would be in the group with one of those teams. So you've got Austria, Hungary, Switzerland, Poland, and Wales. Then you've got Serbia, we'll ignore Russia for the moment, Czechia, Scotland, Turkey, Romania, Norway would be number 11, and Slovakia would be number 12. Okay, so already thinking, oh, that's going to be quite tricky. If one of those teams wants to qualify directly for the World Cup and not go through the playoff, they've got to beat an Italy or a France or a Germany or a Spain, England, etc. But what makes it even more difficult is the 3rd seeds. Okay, so imagine now, it's already difficult enough trying to beat those teams, but then you're going to have these in your, definitely one of these in your group as well. You've got Greece, Slovenia, Ireland, Finland, Albania, who were down in 66th position, even though they topped their European qualifying group, Macedonia, Montenegro, Iceland, Northern Ireland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Georgia is number 11, and Israel is number 12. And Israel are in Group A of the Nations League this year. So qualifying is going to be really, really difficult this year. for lots of reasons. You're not going to have an easy draw at all. And just to finalize it all, this is going to be the fourth seed. So you're going to have in the bottom seed Bulgaria, Luxembourg, who came close to qualifying, Armenia, who caused Wales lots of problems, Belarus, Kosovo, Kazakhstan, who gave Denmark a little bit of a run for their money. Starting to get fewer. Azerbaijan, Estonia, Cyprus, the Faroe Islands, that's number 10, Latvia is number 11, and Lithuania is number 12. And then a couple of the groups are going to have the complete minnows, such as San Marino, Gibraltar, Andorra, etc. But only those that don't have one of the countries that made it into the semi-finals. No, the ones that make it into the semi-finals will have a fifth seed. Yes, they'll have one of the easier teams. Oh, so it's going to be very difficult indeed. So based on that information, why don't you put in the comment section what your ideal group would be for your country, or your absolute nightmare group. Let me have a think about mine for Wales. Okay, Soccerway have helped me out. I could filter it just for Europe. So yeah, they would be the first seeds down to number 12. If I had a worst case scenario, it would be France, and a best case scenario would be probably Ukraine. Ukraine. Obviously we're in pot 2, so we can't have anyone from pot 2. So that goes 12 and that's down to 24. So Norway is the last one we can't have, and then Slovakia, Greece, Romania, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't like to have someone like maybe Georgia, Albania, Greece. They would be really difficult. I wouldn't mind our chances against maybe Iceland or Northern Ireland perhaps. I think we could maybe manage to beat them. And then 12 on top of that is 36. So, oh my god, Israel are in the bottom group. That is insane, as well as Armenia. I wouldn't like to have either of those. Luxembourg are no easy team either. I'd probably like to have, well, Estonia drew against us embarrassingly a little while ago. Maybe, and Belarus nearly beat us. Maybe Latvia. We only just beat them. They were quite difficult. None of them are a walkover. Cyprus, maybe. So yeah, tell me what in the comment section your best and worst case scenarios. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, and I'll see you again for plenty more videos for the World Cup very soon. Bye 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 bye.